Hello and welcome to a Homemade TV news flash at 2:45 p.m. on the afternoon of Thursday, the 9th of July 2020. Well, as you may or may not be aware, the mighty BBC has decided it's time to actually charge 3 million over 75 households the full amount of their licence fee, £157.50. What's happened up until now is that households that are headed by a person over the age of 75 years have effectively got a free TV licence. The real story is that it's always been something of a benefit for people who are getting really old and less mobile and kind of more housebound. So it actually gives us, if you like, something more interesting to look at, to do, to get involved with. TV is that thing these days. So over 75s historically have always had a free TV license. It's about 3.5 million people in the age group. Now, what's happening from the 1st of August is that the only people who will get a free TV license are people over 75 who are in receipt of pension credits. That means they are amongst the UK's really poorest old age pensioners. In honesty, to get pension credits, you have to be pretty skint. But the problem is that there's a large number just beyond that point of being pretty skint who are not well off. There are still a lot of single person households mainly that have big problems financially. They have trouble deciding whether they're going to, honestly, whether they're going to be able to afford to eat. They have trouble in the winter deciding whether to buy food or pay for heating because they are that close to the edge financially. So this particular thing is going to hit them, and it's going to hit them hard. What it means for people is that they'll have to find £3 a week to pay their pension, £157.50. It isn't much if you say it quick. But those pensioners who are now having to pay it, the 3 million of us are now having to pay it, effectively, there's probably 2 or 2.5 million, maybe 2 million who can afford it comfortably, maybe 1 million who can afford it comfortably and easily, maybe another million who, well, it's an extra expense and they'll find it somewhere. But I'm guessing that there's probably another 500,000 to 1 million to whom it will make a real difference. And I think that the BBC in this instance is really kicking those people in the teeth. It's not very nice. It's not a very nice thought, is it? From my point of view, I would say that the BBC, I understand that the BBC has financial problems, and I think most of us do. But the BBC, when you look at it, has a jolly nice income, £12.54 per month licence fee, and only a bit more than half of that is paid out on TV, and another £2 of it on radio. The rest, well, okay, we have to acknowledge that there's collection costs. Yep, 33p per license. That's fair enough every month. The World Service, do we need that? BBC Online, well, old people don't need that. So the reality is, I'm wondering just how much TV and radio and other stuff old people like us actually, well, how much we consume. I find this a really hard one to work out, because the truth is that, for instance, in our house, we watch BBC One, we watch BBC Two, we watch BBC Four. But my guess is that we watch that for maybe half the time, and for the other half of the time, we watch other stuff. We pay for that other stuff. I don't have a problem with that at all. We pay for it. But the reality is that what do I consume from the BBC otherwise? Well, nothing much. I sometimes look at their news website. Okay, that's fair enough. Sometimes in the car we have Radio 2 on. That's fair enough. But we don't have all of the additional services. So BBC makes hundreds, I think it's dozens rather, but certainly it feels like hundreds of webcasts, podcasts every week. I don't know how many a day, but certainly several every week. They make loads of those. They make various radio stations online, which are not mass market radio stations. And in effect, what the mighty BBC does is that it spends money willy-nilly to fill all the gaps that might well be filled by proper business-based commercial radio and commercial TV stations. We already have a commercial services on TV, which actually arguably do a better job than some services than the BBC do themselves. So what are we talking about here? What do we actually need from the BBC? Let's go back to that graphic and just look at that. As an old person, I probably consume 90% of what I consume is TV, maybe 95%. And the other small percent is the radio. So I just do that. So I could get away with paying £8 a month. I don't want the rest. Online, not interested. World service, not interested. Other services and production costs, whatever that means, I don't know. The reality is that from my point of view, the BBC is doing me between £8 and £9 worth of benefit a month, and I use it for half the time I use TV and radio. So in reality, I think a half price license for over 75s would make much more sense than stinging us for the full 157. To be honest with you, my view has always been that, okay, 157 quid if you use all the BBC services and you don't depend on them in effect. For older people like us who mostly do depend on them, I understand pension credit. Yeah, I go with that. Free license if you get pension credit. But otherwise, if you're over 75, then half price. I think that would reflect the way the world is now more for over 75s. And I would say that that would make good sense for us as a nation. It would make good sense for the BBC as a broadcaster, because the BBC does not have to provide all the services it provides now. In all honesty, if BBC provided BBC One, BBC Two, radios 1, 2, 3, and 4, fine. Radio 5, waste of space. Digital radio, waste of space. Podcasts, waste of space. Website that's anything other than straight news, waste of space. They should be providing local radio. I'm very much in favour of that, because it's the only speech-based and news-based local radio services that we have. But I still think the mighty BBC could do it for half the money for the over 75s. So that's my viewpoint. I'd love to know what you think. If you have a view on the BBC and on its licence fee and how it should work for people in our age group, please get in touch. My name's Chris Gosling. This is Homemade TV, and we'll be back again tomorrow with our standard Friday news at 11 o'clock. Okay, I'm Chris, and I'll see you soon.